Hello and welcome to Lucy's Big Beautiful World of Painting. Today I have a really fun decoupage project that anyone can do, and I'm using quite a few products. I'm going to show you little by little. I'm going to go back and forth between my project that is almost finished and one I will be working on. This way we can allow some of the products to dry in between, okay? So stick with me while I go back and forth between two different projects so you can see all the elements of this one. So to start off, I'm going to tell you I am using this Frederick's Pro Series paint board. This is a wonderful board. It is a 16 by 20 in size. It's lightweight. It has it is eco-friendly, a blend of vegetable-based and recycled components. It's really an outrageous board for any mixed media lover, and it is very sturdy, easy to carry along. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that first. That's what I will be using. So I'll be putting this down here and moving over to my table now, where I will show you my decoupage. So DecoArt has some wonderful decoupage paper, and they come 3 in a package, and this is what I will be using today. All right, so I'm just going to show you this. They unfold, and you're going to see that on my project. So I'll put this over here. I am going to be using a antique in color decoupage medium. So it's like a glue medium, and it's really a wonderful project for anybody, like I said. So I'm going to move this out of the way. So I'll be moving things around as I'm working. All right. So first, what I did was I took out the 3 sheets. This is they match each other. Okay, you can see they match each other, but they're still different. The sheets come in a size that is great for 16 by 20 because one sheet does not have to be cut at all. I just took it out the way it is, and I'll be gluing that on, decoupaging it on. These 2 sheets I did cut. All right, so make sure that you save all of your pieces, because these pieces can be torn apart and used in other projects, okay? So don't ever throw any of that away. So I'll just move that over here out of the way. So to get started, again, I just cut them to fit, all right? And I have my other project over here. Let me just hold this up. Oops, sorry, having a little easel trouble here. Let me kind of turn this a little bit, and hopefully you can see that, okay? This is just part of it. It's not finished yet. I'm going to add more. When the decoupage is drying, I'll start to add more to this one, and then, like I said, we'll go back and forth between them. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use a roller with the decoupage fluid, all right? And I'm going to roll onto these. Now, you don't have to use a roller, all right? I'm just using a roller that you could get at Home Depot, any place, any kind of roller. Using a little medium-sized one, all right? And I'm just going to roll this on, all right? So I'm just going to do it on top of here. At home, of course, you'll set up your station so it's a little bit easier for you to work with. And I'm going to be putting it right onto the board also, so I'm not worried that it's going to go right over, all right? And I'll just roll some of this on. All right, there we go. And this is fun, okay? Every time I do this, I think about, wow, I really would like to do my walls like this. Oops, I have it stuck together, so I'm just gonna spread this out a little. I just wanna get those nice and wet with the decoupage fluid. Oops, we have a little oops moment there. All right, there we go. That's it. So I'm just gonna move these over to the side for a second and try not to get everything stuck to it. I wanna get a little bit on here also, just so it's easier to stick, all right? And then I'm gonna go over it again. So it doesn't matter if it's not on the entire board, but I am gonna try to get quite a bit of the fluid on there. And I see I have a little bit of dust in there, and that's probably from part of the project that kind of came off on it, but that's okay. All right, here we go. So I'm going to just lay this down on the bottom, try to get a little close to the edges there. I can always cut up other pieces or, you know, improvise, and I'm not worried if it's not, it's not unwrinkled. I kind of like how the wrinkles look, all right? You may not like wrinkles, and you can work on those to get those off if you want to. And I'm just laying this on. Like I said, at home, you'll take your time, you'll make it as straight as you want, and I got this stuck on there so you could see how well it works. And what's great about this is when you put the decoupage medium on, it's like a glue, but also it will make it seamless, okay? So you won't see the seams. They're kind of going to mold together. Now, once you have it on, you're going to go on top of the whole thing. And this is where you'll spend a little bit of time making sure that it is stuck on really well. Now, this fluid that I'm using is the antique fluid, okay? There is a clear one, but this will give it a little bit of an additional nice beigey kind of color, okay? And that's what we want on this kind of project. Now, these decoupage papers, they come in all different subjects, okay? It's not just this subject. Now, I decided to do like a little Paris theme, travel kind of decoupage, okay? But you can do a beach. There's so many different ones, okay? So I'm pushing a little bit. I just want to make sure that that's gonna get stuck on there pretty well, all right? And like I said, after I get some of this fluid on, I will let it dry a while. So I don't want to overdo it either, because I want to, hopefully I'll be able to go back to it and do the stenciling on it, all right? Because I want to show you how I did the stenciling. I got a little bit of a nice texture on that stenciling, okay? I didn't make it a flat stencil. So now, again, I'm going to go back and forth. And it's so much easier when you have a 16 by 20 or larger board to do this with a roller, okay? Because I'm pushing pretty hard. I really want to get it stuck down there. And I can just use my finger and push it right over the side if I have to. All right, and I see a little seam coming up. I'm gonna go back in the middle there, okay? You can just go like this and stick it right down. Like I said, I like the way these wrinkles look. That gives it that nice decoupage kind of look that was always so popular, especially when I was growing up, okay? And it's really coming back again in mixed media, because you can start off with your decoupage and then, you know, glue all of your themed items on top of it. So again, I'm just going to push this back, and I'm not worried right now. I usually would spend a few more minutes sticking it on there, but I just want to make sure that you see how I'm doing it, okay? So now that it's all covered, I have my seams all covered, I'm going to stop right here, set this aside, and I will go on to gluing some items onto my halfway done project, okay? So next, what I will be doing is I will be gluing some pictures on my project, okay? And what I did was I ordered some vintage postcards and I burned the edges, okay? So all I did was take a candle lighter and I went around the edge very carefully. You just light it a little bit and blow it out. Please do it by a sink with the water running. Just in case it flares up a little, you can just throw it down there in the sink, okay? So I'm not gonna do that here. I have a couple done already. So let's go on and I'll show you how to put this on. I have the decoupage fluid out again, and I'm just going to paint the back, as this is actually glue, okay? And just gonna paint that really well. And this is fun to paint this, okay? And some of my little edges might come off or end up on the project, and that's okay, all right? So I'm gonna go back to my semi-finished project here, and I'm just going to, let's see, I think I'll place this one down here. Okay, so you can see some of the edges are coming off a bit, all right? I'm just gonna kind of stick this on here, and I'm just gonna rub this on. Now this is a thicker paper, okay? So you may wanna do this with a hot glue gun. I can put the decoupage fluid over, or I can leave it as it is, okay? Now, I like the idea of having it more three-dimensional. So in this case, what I would do is I just want to make sure it sticks a bit, all right? So I'm just pushing on it to stick a bit. And I like the idea that it will roll up a little and be three-dimensional, okay? So let me just stick it a little more. Like I said, this is a thicker paper, so each paper that you use, it works differently, all right? So I would actually have to hold that there a couple minutes, and we'll see if that sticks well, because I want to try not to put the decoupage fluid over the top of it. I like how that looks like that, all right? Now, I have another one here where I did, and this is just old postcards of France. You can go on the internet and just look them up, and very inexpensively you can get some of these. And same thing. I'm just going to put some on here. And I learned from my first one that I might need a little more fluid. All right, and we call this medium fluid. It's like a glue, all right? And I think that you can see the beige color of it, all right? And it's curling a little, and that's fine. Like I said, this looks pretty good. If I have to put a little more under it, I will. And I think I'll put this one right about here. Now, this postcard I could feel is a little thinner than the other one, so you can see that might stick a little better. And I'm just pushing it on there. If it moves around, that's fine. If it's not straight, it's fine. This is a mixed media project. So anything goes with this. You can just glue on wherever you feel like gluing something on, all right? If I see it starts to come up a little too much, I can just get my brush back in there, which I think I'll do. I can just get my brush back in there, put a little more glue, and stick it on there, okay? The little edges come off, but that's all right. So at home, you'll take your time with this. I just want to show you how interesting you can make this. Alrighty, there we go. I also bought some French stamps, some old stamps, all right? And I have a variety of these, and the same thing, maybe $3. You can have a big pile like this, you know, from eBay and other you know, stamp places that you can get them at. It's very easy to find, so the same thing I'm going to do with these. Now, of course, this paper is thinner, okay? So I'm expecting this will stick a little better. So just going to get that on there with my brush and maybe stick this one here. Okay, so now you can see how that sticks. Now, what I would do is this, I won't put the decoupage on top, but maybe that one I will, just so I can show you. Okay, so here we go. We can put that right on top. As that dries, of course, it's just going to blend in with everything else. So I like how the stamp looks flat, and I like how this looks a little curled. Like I said, this is curling up a little too much. No problem. Can always go in with a little hot glue and stick that down even more. As I push it down, it's staying. I would have to hold it for a couple more minutes, but for the sake of time, I want to show you a little bit more rather than hold that on. So I have some other interesting stamps here. I'm just looking at the colors and the pictures, deciding which one I want to put on there. All right, and gluing, and this is a lot of fun, okay? And decoupage started in the 1700s, and it was a poor man's way of decorating furniture, all right? So it actually did start in France, which is just happens to be coincidence that I have this, this Paris board here. When I was looking at the decoupage sheets in the Deco Art set, right away I just thought of Paris, okay? Even though this is Canada here, it's fine. This can be even a travel theme, even though it says Paris, and you can put, you know, traveling items on there. I even found a little scrapbooking Eiffel Tower, all right? So we can stick that on there. Same thing, I'm just gonna glue that on. And that has a little string hanging, so we can just find a spot. Maybe I'll put it up here and hang it over the top. Let's see. All right, we'll just stick that on. Now again, this paper is thin. All right, this is the thinnest. This would be a middle ground paper, and this, of course, is thick. So you can see the difference with how things stick on. I like it when like this little edge is coming up. I like how that looks. I can even take a little bit of the glue and put it up there, and then just stick that down. This way that hangs on there. I think I'll put some more of the stamps on. Before we go back to my project that I started in the beginning of the show, that's drying, I'm gonna put a few more stamps on, I think, okay? Here's a nice reddish color one. All right, it actually says France on there, and these are old, and the writing is in French. So you can embellish this as much as you want, and that's the fun of it. So I'm just kind of looking at the colors that I have here, and I like this one. All right, again, I'm just gluing right on there. A lot of people that do the mixed media use tweezers, so whichever is easier for you, all right? You can use tweezers. I'm just using my fingers today. And you can see how nice. It just goes in with the paper, soaks it up, and sticks nicely. This one is sticking nicely, okay? It curled up a little, like I said. I like it though, I'm gonna leave it. Let me go back and get a couple more, because I'll save some of these for the other project. This way I'll have 2 completed projects. And what a nice gift. And if you go on vacation someplace, You can always make one of these and fill it in with your vacation pictures. I think we'll put this one right up here. And you can see I'm not putting them on straight, just putting them on whichever way, kind of filling in the spots, maybe a couple more down here. And let's get, let's see, a little green one. And I only paid a few dollars for this whole little bundle of stamps. So it's really, really worth it. The project is an inexpensive project. And you just need your, you need your supplies, and you can do quite a few with the supplies. I mean, I could probably do 4 or 5. Alrighty, and let's see. Maybe put this one right here, right in the ocean there. And like I said, lots of fun. Okay, so I'm going to stop here and go back to my other project so I can show you how I put on this stencil. And maybe we'll do a little painting on it. I want to show you how I did the edges also. Now I'm going to continue on with my decoupage project now that this is dry, okay? So I have my other one underneath there, so I'll go back and forth and show you. First I want to show you the metallic luster, which is what I'm going to put along the edges, which I did on my other project. And the metallic luster comes in a lot of colors, of course, from Deco Art. This is a brand new one, okay? And this is a very, very creamy kind of a paint that you can use on picture frames, furniture. It's just beautiful to do any kind of embellishment with it. And just to be eco-friendly, when you're finished with this, it's a really nice container. Clean it out with soap and water, and you can put beads or whatever else, paper clips, whatever you have in there. So let's try to reuse these nice little containers. So this one is brand new. I wanted to show you that I have an old one that I forgot to cover, and it got really hard, okay? I want to show you that it still can be used. All you would have to do is wet it, okay? You can do it with your finger, all right? Or you can put your paintbrush in with water. It still can be used, all right? So don't throw it out if it dries out, all right? And I've had this one for a long time, and I still am going to use it. So I'm going to show you this. This is the color that we're using. This one is the Iced Espresso, all right? It's a beautiful, beautiful color. And I'm just taking my finger, and all I'm going to do is start to rub along the edges. Now, I didn't spend a lot of time on my edges, okay? When you saw the beginning of my show, see, I just kind of pushed that up a little bit. I want you to spend a little more time with the decoupage and gluing it on, all right? And I'm still gonna go back and fix that. I'm just gonna, later on, I'll just go underneath with my brush with the decoupage sealer, and I will put that on, okay? Because it's a sealer, it's a glue, it does everything. So I love the way this gold look. Everybody knows I love to shine things up. This is nice and shiny, all right? And you can see I'm just rubbing my finger along, all right? Like I said, at home, take your time. You'll put as much or as little as you want. I like the idea of putting a little extra like this in the corners, all right, because it kind of frames the picture a little bit. Now, my easel is in the way, all right, so I'm not gonna fuss too much with it. So just gonna get a little on here just to show you how that shines it up. The other thing you can do is you can take a brush. I just wanted to wet it a little. I didn't wet it a lot. And you can go in here and you can wet it and you can move this around. I didn't put any on there. There we go, now we have some. And you can move this around, okay? So if I want to pull this down a little more, I'm just kind of scrubbing it in, all right? So you can see. So you can use the brush or you can use your finger. There we go. Put a little bit more, really, really shine that up. And like I said, I can go back down here and try to squeeze a little bit in here next to my easel. It's easier to do it with my finger, but I think you get the idea of that, okay? So again, this is the Deco Art Metallic Luster, and this is the Ice Espresso. This comes in some really beautiful colors. So I'm just gonna take my brush, since I did use some on there, and I'm just gonna place it in my water. They always have to stay nice and damp. Now, what I wanna do is, I have a Americana Decor stencil, all right? Comes in this package like this, and I'm just going to tape it on. And I'm going to show you how I made my stencil a little three-dimensional. It's not so flat, so I'm not using a stencil brush. I'm actually going to use a palette knife. All right, and I see I have this all over my fingers. I'm just going to wipe a little bit off. I have some wet wipes here just to get some of that off, so it'll be a little easier for me to work. All right, there we go. Just clean that off real easy. And just taping this on. This is just painter's tape. All right, it won't hurt the decoupage. So what I'm doing is, here's my palette. I have some, I will tell you the color that I'm using. Exact color I'm using is the raw umber. All right, I am using the regular gold. There's a pale gold also. I'm using the bright gold. And I am using a little bit of the heavy gel medium because I want this to be a little bit thick, okay? So all I'm gonna do is mix in some of that gel medium. I would have probably put a little more, but I think that's probably enough, okay? So, oops, lost my stamps on there. That's okay. I put them right on the edge and they just kind of flew off. I forgot they were there. Let me move those out of the way now that I have the opportunity. There we go. Now I can hold this up better. All right, so I'm just mixing this up, okay? And it kind of fluffs the paint up a little bit, all right? So this is fun. You want to keep doing it once you're doing it. There we go. So I'm just going to wipe off my palette knife. You can use any palette knife you have. Big one, small one, whatever, okay? And just wiping it off. And I'm just going to mix in my gold. You can see the medium here, all right? And mixing in that medium, and it's going to make that paint a little thicker, a little fluffier. So rather than do a flat stencil with the brush, all right, I am using this paint to make it a little bit three-dimensional on this mixed media project, okay? There we go. Now, I'm just going to take a lot of it just like this and just going to spread it on just like that. All right, and I want it thick. There we go, okay? Now, when you're done with your stencil, you want to wash it with soap and water. DecoArt has a stencil cleaner, which is wonderful. It's a brush and stencil cleaner. I would recommend that because you want to keep your stencils as nice as possible, okay? So you can see what I'm doing. I'm just kind of pushing the paint around. And the reason why I'm doing this, I want it to look a little thick, okay? So I'm going to do that in gold. Again, I'm just coming and wiping off my knife again. All right, it doesn't have to be wiped off. I'm going to a darker color, and I'm going to do these big letters now. Now, sometimes the paint will seep a little underneath if you're not holding it down. It might be hard for me to hold it and to keep going back to my palette, so I'm not going to worry about it. I can see I got under there a little. So you can see I'm just spreading it on, but I am kind of dabbing a little because I want that texture in it. All right, and that's the whole idea, to have it be a little three-dimensional. So you have all different kinds of dimensions in your project. So I can't hold it down, so I am going to just move this over, and I'm just going to come and spread it on and just dab a little. All right, dabbing. If I've run out of paint, I'll just get more paint, add a little bit more medium. There we go. And this is a lot of fun. This is something you can do as a project with your kids. If you have kids that you want to start to get them involved in doing these nice projects, this is a wonderful project because it's a nice hands-on project. There's a lot of little things that you're doing to this board. I would recommend doing it flat on a table, not in an easel like this. It does cause a little bit of an issue with the palette knife and the paint, okay? So use a flat table, but I wanted to show you, and I wanted to make sure you can see real clearly how this is done, all right? So I'm just spreading this on, and again, I'm gonna go back. I wanna dab it a little. I like the texture, all right? I love that texture. So just come back and dab it, all righty? There we go. I'm just filling in, double checking, making sure I didn't miss any spots. We want to make sure that it really looks like it says Paris there, okay? Now, I'm going to come down here again. Now, this is little letters, all right? So it's a little easier. You can see it's a little easier. And it goes on quick. I'll see if I have enough brown here, and I probably do. I can try to spread that on, all right? And again, making a little bit of texture. And to the last word now, I'm going to just spread it on, make sure I have enough paint, and then I'll go back and dab a little bit. You can see the knife will pull up the paint, okay? So I'm going to take this off now, and you'll see how nice that's going to look. All right, here we go. Move that out of the way. And I'm just carefully lifting the tape. There we go, okay? Now, when this dries, it's going to be shiny, okay? And I like the way it looks shiny in contrast. There we go. Now, we already did our other project underneath. And I'm going to take this off so now you can see, all right? This is how we started and then the embellishments, all right? Now, the other thing that you can do to embellish, which is a lot of fun, is you can look up on the internet and you can print out some pictures, all right? You can use a graphite paper and trace them on and paint them in. So I maybe would put one of these over here, and that's how you can even add more painting on, all right, if you want to add more. I thought this was fun. This might be something that you can put on. Now, to paint this freehand would be difficult. So again, I suggest that you get some graphite paper. American Accessories has even the white graphite paper. You would just trace it on. You put your graphite paper underneath, trace it on. You'll take a round brush and just paint it in. You can paint it in black or you can paint it in brown. Okay, so these are just some ideas. So when you find your decoupage paper that you like for your project and what you're going to be doing, you'll find your theme that way. And then you'll just embellish on your theme. So if you're doing a beach theme, you may want to put some shells on. I did do a mixed media shell project on another show. This one you can make all travel. Doesn't necessarily have to be Paris, even though it's Paris. I just like the Paris theme. You can add different items from whatever trips that you may have gone on. All right, so in conclusion, I'd just like to say thank you for stopping in to see my show today. I appreciate you coming on Facebook, looking me up. Feel free to write with your questions, and thanks again for tuning in.